I know that we have taken, but self-discovery helps in a lot of areas. And we said number 2 is developing. Developing your gift. Now, the developing phase never stops for all of us. It never stops. We keep learning, we keep unlearning, and we keep relearning things, and we keep expanding our knowledge, and we keep reading, and we keep listening from other people. So you realize that you developing your gift is knowing that, okay, now I have a cooking gift. If I have a cooking gift, today I will be so deliberate that when I cook, I want to be able to cook rice, but with minced meat. Tomorrow, I want to cook rice, but with cowpeas. The other day, I want to cook the egg fried rice. The other day, you see, you are intentional. The other day, you are just cooking for the sake of, but right now, you are developing. Now you're reading recipes. Now you are intentionally watching people who are shooting cooking videos to see what's the difference. How are the Chinese cooking? Where do they put in the soy sauce? Where... Right now, you are being intentional because you are developing. You've seen that now, I am going to be doing this for a long time. I might as well learn the skills and the competencies of doing this. So you realize you discovered first that you love parenting because you have your own children. You looked at them and you're like, I want to create a better world for them. So you found that is your gift. At first, you were restless. You actually didn't know what you wanted to do. Very restless. By the time she signed on, my goodness, she was restless. She was everywhere, learning everything, listening from everyone. And I was like, that kind of hunger is going to take her places. And I remember I used to tell you. Yeah. And soon, when I asked about niches, she was like, children. I was like, does she understand what she's talking about? Because sometimes even as a mentor, I will have, questions. Does she understand what she's talking about? Let me see. Because sometimes I will not be excited by the niche you tell me at first. I want to be excited about that niche after a year where you have been consistent on that niche. Okay? So she started doing graphics. She started posting. And in my heart, I'm like, seems like the passion is really strong about this, okay? And she would not take it out every time she will be speaking. Even when we are on roundtables, her examples about children, even when she goes to other, people's roundtables and contributing, you can see a person that is zealous and really hungry. So when she got to know that, she actually asked me, now, coach, who is doing what I want to do? And I remember that is when you saw Coach Hanifa, that is when you saw, and there's someone else, that was Coach Royhana, some of you don't know, but when you join the bigger group, you'll get to know them. She asked me while she did the mentorship while she was in Dubai, and so she asked me, now, who is doing, because she was doing early childhood development, and as a coach, I have seen so many things, but by the time I was doing the mentorship, I actually didn't have that proper elaborate knowledge. And that is good to admit, that you don't have a knowledge in a particular area. I know that the people that I'm mentoring are going to have diverse knowledge and diverse niches, but that particular one, I had never encountered it. So I told her, I know a person who is doing that. Manuela Mulondo is doing that. So I connected her to Manuela Mulondo. And she has never gone back. She actually has started a kindergarten of her own, and she has started a home care for children of her own. And she went through this mentorship. She went through more mentorship, and she has done good for herself. So you realize that the developing period, you come restless, then you get to know, something drops into your spirit that, okay, this is it. Let me settle with this. It has given you landing. It does not mean that that is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. No. Your niche is going to evolve. Your niche is going to grow. And your niche is going to expand. And your niche can change. So when it changes, don't ask yourself, am I authentic or I'm not authentic? No, you are still authentic. But as you grow, you tend to solidify. You tend to cement and concretize your gifting. Okay? So after the developing part, then we go to the deployment. Okay? And now, the deployment, you realize that the developing, some of us will never understand what we are really good at until we have started practicing. Okay? So after you practice, that is when you know which areas you actually need to develop. That is why I said that developing never stops at any moment in life. You are still at a continuous journey of developing while you develop. But now I really want us to talk about the things that help us deploy, because deployment is what we are supposed to do in order to help, or to help other people. Okay, and part of what we do when we say development, there's deploying. There's a verse that we all love to talk about: fearfully and wonderfully made. But sometimes I had never taken time to think about fearfully and wonderfully made until I thought about it, that it's not just about the beauty and that top look and everything else. The fearfully and the wonderfully made is a whole package of, you were created with the competencies that you need inside of you to be able to use that particular gift to be able to influence the world or change the world. Okay, so you were created, you were wonderfully and fearfully made with everything that you need in order to deploy the gift that you need. So what we are doing right now is panel beating. What we are doing is calling it out. What we are doing is bringing it out to surface. And what we are doing is being able to say, you have greatness inside of you. Do not sit on it. And what we are doing is we are placing fire under you to make sure that you do not just settle. Because you would just settle, the relationship, and then smanyi your work, and then everything else. Do you know that our callings and our gifts are the things that we give the least attention? Because they are inside of us. So we run with everything else, we please others, we find a place, we chase money, we chase everything, and we forget the most important thing, which is inside of us, and which brings a lot of satisfaction. So number one, in deploying, character is something that is very, very crucial. Character development is something, cultivating a character that is going to make it possible for your gift to be deployed is something that is very crucial and very, very important. Okay? Because part of what people say, I will start tomorrow. How many of us have said that? I will start tomorrow. I will write that book tomorrow. I will do it. And sometimes you even envision it after you have already done it. I will record this video. I will post later. Some of us, it's later, it turns into tomorrow, it turns into a week after, and then it turns into a never. You realize. So, and then you start giving yourself excuses. I think I need to first do makeup, but I'm not a makeup person. And then after that, you're like, but now I have a bad phone. I need a better phone. And then the other time, you're like, but I'm not photogenic. And then, but what am I going to say? These things have been said by so many people. What difference am I going to bring? And then you spend time on social media scrolling, looking at people, and you're like, the world is running very fast, or will I catch up? So, like, the character traits that I am talking about that we must cultivate in order to deploy are the character traits of doing it now. If I must do it, I must do it now. And if I must do it, I must do it afraid. I must do it without full information. I must do it without perfection. I must do it without asking 1,000 people whether it is what I must do. You realize we keep asking people? Yeah. Do you think this is the right thing? And then the people that you ask don't know. So we seek approval. We want to please. We want to do something that people accept and people understand. If I had waited until I fully understood what I was doing, I don't think I would have started. Up to now, I am still figuring so many things out. Okay? And I don't fail to admit that. Up to now, I'm still learning so many things. But the character trait that I have cultivated over time is to demand of my highest version of myself to influence the lowest version of myself. Because most times what happens is we live in disharmony. There are two people or personalities inside of you. One of you wants to be the lion, to be the go-getter, to be out there, to do it, okay? And then the other side of you is this person that a procrastinating, one who people pleases, one who asks for permission from everyone, one who thinks less of themselves, one who does not believe in themselves, one who does not have confidence, one who does not have self-esteem. You realize that person doesn't have enough, so many things. So now just imagine that personality that doesn't have so many things is the one that we are relying on to even build ourselves. We are relying on that personality to marry. We are relying on that personality to even get into partnerships. We are relying on that personality to get jobs. That is why we settle. That is why we give up. That is why we walk away. That is why we become so confused. Because we are relying on a person that is not congruent with the dreams and the passions that we want to have. Every time there is a battle inside of you. Don't you all know the right things to do? Don't you? Don't you know what to do in order to get money? Why don't we have the money? Sorry? Fear. Fear of what? The fear of the journey, that is so wrong. Do you know how I know it is so wrong? Because it is not a tangible thing. The journey is not a tangible thing. Most times the things that we fear are really, if you sat down and took inventory of what your fears are, top on the list is your fellow human beings. And let me tell you, do you know that you can fear a human being more than an animal? Even in real life, while you're walking in a dark place and you find a human being, half the time you're thinking either mulogo, oba musezi, oba agenda kundi, oba planning. As in, it looks so scary. I think some people would rather meet animals than even meeting a human being, because human beings are conniving. Human beings, like they are very weird. So you realize that your fears, people. The reason as to why you fear, you're like, will they look at what I'm putting on and say, yeah, I'm not putting on nice things. Some of you are waiting until you buy clothes so that you can shoot videos. Some of you are waiting until you have nice houses so that you can have a nice background for you to shoot videos. Yes, some of you are looking at your curtains and you're like, these curtains cannot appear in a video. And then you look at the wall, your children have written all over the wall, you're like, this wall cannot appear anywhere. It has worn paint, it has what? And then you look at your bed, the people who show their beds on social media, like, what kind of beds do they, whatever, what am I looking at? And then there are people who dress up close to their wardrobes and you're like, but my friend, my wardrobe, is it something that I can even put on social media? So you look for an area to shoot from in your house and you don't see it. No bivako. Let me tell you, everyone that has been one of the best performers, because again, we have a group of high performers within the mentorship. So yeah, we have, but everyone that has crossed to the high performers group is one who did not wait. Coach Zai, by the time she started the mentorship, Coach Zaitun, you all know her? Yes. She started the mentorship. I didn't know she was pregnant. You know, those pregnancies that stretch you and, so it's afterwards when she started sending me the videos of because it was during the lockdown. Let me tell you, this mindset, this type of people go far. And I actually told her that you are one of the people that I am benchmarking on that is going to be a heavy world changer. And she told me, but coach, but me, I'm even doing these things. The phone is looking how? And I'm like, do not mind about the quality of the phone. What I am looking for is the quality of the content. Actually, not even the quality of the content. What I am looking for is the confidence with which you speak, the authority with which you speak. And that is why I don't want you to look for things that are so far for you to talk about. Talk about the things that are already in your life. You're a single person. And maybe you have not yet found someone to settle with. Can you talk about your personal problems? I told you that the best person to coach and to mentor is someone that is 10 years younger than you. 10 years younger than you. So whenever you have nothing to talk about, talk to yourself 10 years younger than you. What would you tell yourself? Look at that mirror and speak and say and speak confidence and say that if you knew where we are 10 years after where you are right now, you would be more confident. You would say no and mean it. You would not just settle for anything. You realize that it will come from inside of you, because some of you will be speaking from a point of regret. Some of you will be speaking from a point of mistakes that you did, okay? Or that you saw your friends do. So the character trait of saying, I am going to do it now. I am going to do it afraid. I am going to do while shaking, but I am going to do it anyway. I know some of you, when you send me some of the videos, and you're like, but that one, I was just practicing. And I'm like, it's okay. Whether you were practicing, whether you were under the bed, whether you were under what, just hand in. Assignment is assignment. Hand in your assignment. I know so many of you have not handed in your, your assignment. So you have everything that it takes. I want you to be able to develop the character traits. Okay? Not stop saying, I will do it tomorrow. No. Stop saying, I will write it. Stop saying, I will say it. Stop saying, I will post. Stop saying, I will, I will start promoting myself. How many of you have promised to promote yourselves on social media, and until today you have never promoted yourself? Coach Sonia, you're promoting yourself. Decluttering. You do a good job. Whenever I bump onto your posts, I'm like, yes, she is. But we need more energy. So do not just promise yourself. You can buy all the journals in the world. You can buy all the notebooks in the world. Some of you, how many notebooks have you bought? You buy notebooks. It feels nice writing in a new notebook. It feels like whatever you're going to write, you're going to do. So you buy a new one. Even a new page is exciting, especially if it doesn't have any kwara behind it. You even skip the one that has kwara and then you go to a totally new one. And you just feel like your heart just convinces you, you're going to do all these things. You even write your to-do list of 20 things. I'm going to before this month elapses, I'm going to do this. I'm going to budget for my money. And then within 2 days, when you get your money, within 2 days, it is done. You didn't even budget it. I know. But I don't want us to keep promising ourselves. The character traits that I want you to be able to acquire and cultivate inside of you are the character traits that you need to do. Because you are supposed to be doers. You're not supposed to be talkers. You're supposed to be action. You're supposed to take action. Okay? Because it is be, do, have. That is the sequence. That is how things move. Okay? You, being. From being, we do. Then from doing, we have. Okay? So that means it's a character trait of being active, of not procrastinating, of not sending it to another person. Some of you are here and you're like, maybe that one belongs to the other person. No, it does not belong to the other person. It belongs to you. Okay? So you might as well do it. And I want us to run very quickly for all the issues that we will ever have in the world. And I know this is going to go to all the people out there. You are going to have 3 things. And I want you to write the formula H3. H3. For every problem that is ever going to come to you or that you are going to meet in the world can be solved within these 3 things. Number 1 is the head. Number 2 is the heart. And number 3, the hands. Are we together? Yes. The head, the heart, all the problems that we have in the world fall under these 3 categories. Remember, what we are talking about are the character traits that we must get. And when you look at the head, here we will have, let's talk about the mindset. Because the mindset is the greatest. When you talk about problem solving, when you talk about people helping, even just helping yourself or helping anyone else, you realize that for as long as we can tame our mindset, we have overcome nearly 95 or 90% of the problems on earth. Because everything, whether it goes to the heart, whether it goes to the hands, or it's supposed to be solved by the heart or the hands, the first thing it comes into our mindsets. Okay? And then, when it goes to the mindset, I want us to be able to get it very quickly. Under the mindset, we have the different things. When something comes into your mind, your problem, your situation comes into your mind. situation. I want you to write situation. And then I want you to be able, I cannot be able to completely write them, but I want you to write situation. Underneath your situation, your situation, the situation happens, okay? When the situation happens, it's a fact. It has happened, okay? So your mindset perceives it as it is. When your mindset perceives it as it is, what we do is, from the situation, usually we go to the thoughts. Okay? The situation has happened, you have gotten an accident, you have been chucked, and what else has happened? Something happens. Your child falls sick. You're fired. Yes, you are fired. Let's actually use the issue of being fired. You are fired. So when you are fired, the situation has happened. It's a fact. No one can debate that. It has happened. Okay. However, our thought processes, we all have different thought processes. When we all get fired, we all have different thoughts. Number one person has thoughts of, I don't think they really liked me. I think it was a matter of time and I would have been fired anyway. And then another person is thinking, I am dead. I am not going to survive. I am never coming back from this. This is the end of me. I am done. Okay? And another person is thinking, I should dress up tomorrow. I go to look for another job because there are so many other places where there are placements, but maybe I even don't know about. You realize? It's the same situation. It has happened to so many people, but everyone has a thought process. So now, when you have a thought process, you go to feelings. The moment a situation happens, it's a fact. We have said it's not, we cannot debate that. You go to the thoughts. We all have different thoughts. Some of us self-pity. Some of us, what would I call the misery? Some of us we feel we have total failures. Some of us we feel we have hit the rock bottom. Some of us it's the dead end. Yes, some of us self-condemnation, and some of us it's a sense of regret. Okay, now the moment it comes to your feelings, because your situations brings thoughts, that is inevitable. Thoughts are going to come, and then your thoughts bring feelings. And then you start to feel inadequate. You start to feel like you're not enough. You start to feel like you're judged. You start to feel like all your years, you start to feel, so these feelings, and let me tell you, feelings, there is a way we can even feel them. Like, because they're supposed to be felt. But you feel it. Have you ever choked on feelings? Have you ever choked on feelings? You guys have never felt anything. Have you ever choked? Like you feel at your thing, like you are swallowing, it is not going. You are, and sometimes it's even the self-blame from the thoughts. You're like, I could have done better, but I brought this on myself. And then just imagine someone who has been caught cheating. And maybe their relationship has ended or their marriage has ended. Okay? Now, the thoughts that are running is self-blame. And the feelings are, I don't think I am worth it. I think I am the worst person on earth. I think, So these feelings create what we call behaviors. The feelings create behaviors. Now, situations, let's just go through some of the things that happen. A situation, someone insults you, abuses you, that is a fact. The thoughts are definitely the worst that could happen. You think the worst. The feelings are of revenge. When you get the feelings of revenge, that is when you look for a gunman, or that is when you cook up, a revenge act to do something. And then we have outcomes. But you realize that because everything can be handled by these things, if you had handled these things at your thoughts, you could have saved so much. That is why we say, go and sleep on it. That is why we say, do not make a hasty decision, because the decisions are best according to the feelings. That means it has already gone far from the thoughts. Now it has gone to the feelings, and now you want to go to to behavior. The reason as to why some people have gone and said, you know what, even if I look for another job, I don't think I will get it. So that means the feeling is inadequate, and then all of a sudden the behavior is just giving up. And the outcome is poverty and living a depressed life and hitting a rock bottom and giving up on life. People have committed suicide because the situation happened and they failed to hold it at the thought process. Okay? People have killed others because they failed to hold themselves at the thought process.